Stop scrolling and bring your body into stillness right now, because this is not background noise, and it will not tolerate divided attention. Lower the volume of the world, lock your eyes here, and listen as if something ancient is leaning close enough for you to feel its breath. You were intercepted on purpose, not by an algorithm, not by chance, but because someone in power has already noticed the frequency you carry and the light you refuse to dim. This moment is the opening of an only opportunity, and hesitation is the one luxury you were not given permission to keep. Welcome back to the Chosen Code channel, where messages arrive when pressure peaks and silence becomes too loud to ignore. If you have not already aligned yourself here, you will know what to do without being told, because recognition does not require explanation. You have felt it lately as a tightening behind the sternum. That does not loosen even when you breathe slowly and correctly. Your sleep has been fractured into sharp segments, waking you in the early hours with a sense of being watched rather than afraid, alert rather than panicked. There is a subtle vigilance riding under your skin, as if your nervous system is standing guard even while your body pretends to rest. In rooms full of people, conversations feel muffled and distant, not because you are disconnected, but because your awareness has pulled back to observe instead of participate. You notice patterns faster now, inconsistencies louder, intentions leaking through smiles that used to fool you. This is not paranoia, and it is not imagination, and it is not you losing your softness or your joy. You may have felt a strange pressure around decisions that once felt neutral, as if every choice suddenly carries weight and consequence. Small talk drains you more than honest conflict ever did, and your tolerance for noise without meaning has dropped to almost nothing. You catch yourself scanning faces, not out of fear, but out of an unspoken knowing that not everyone who approaches you comes empty-handed. Dreams have intensified, becoming vivid, symbolic, and sometimes instructional, leaving emotional residue that follows you into the day. Your body reacts before your mind can explain, tightening around certain names, relaxing around certain paths, refusing to cooperate with what no longer fits. This is the symptom that brought you here, and it is the symptom that proves the title has already begun working on you. It is not anxiety. It is discernment sharpening itself into a blade that can no longer be dulled. It is not restlessness. It is preparation energy refusing to settle into complacency. It is not loneliness. It is separation necessary for clarity when eyes of authority begin to watch more closely. It is not exhaustion. It is your system recalibrating to operate under observation without distortion. It is not fear of being seen. It is the instinct to be seen correctly and not prematurely. It is not pressure. It is compression before expansion, the tightening of focus before release. Someone in power has their eyes on you, and that does not always look like admiration or applause or obvious invitation. Sometimes power watches quietly, measuring how you move when you think no one important is paying attention. Sometimes opportunity disguises itself as delay, as silence, as the feeling of being evaluated without feedback. You have been in a corridor phase, where doors do not open yet and retreat is no longer an option. This is the space where discernment becomes survival. Because not every open door is yours, and not every hand extended carries clean intent. Your sensitivity has increased because the margin for error has narrowed. It is not that people have changed. It is that your perception has been upgraded to detect what was always there. It is not that you are becoming colder. It is that you are becoming precise with your warmth. It is not that trust has died. It is that trust is being rerouted through wisdom instead of hope alone. It is not that you are being watched to be trapped. It is that you are being observed to be positioned. It is not that you must hide. It is that you must choose when and how you reveal. This is cutting cords without burning bridges, and it requires stillness more than reaction. Spirit recognizes spirit before words ever catch up, and power recognizes alignment even faster. Light disturbs what feeds on confusion, and clarity threatens systems built on distraction and access. Your old life could afford leakage, loose boundaries, and open doors without filters, because the assignment was smaller and the impact was contained. Your new assignment demands a clean container, a nervous system that does not flinch under scrutiny, and a voice that does not fracture when silence tests it. That is why distractions have been falling away without negotiation, friendships fading without drama, and habits losing their grip without explanation. You are being simplified so you can be trusted with complexity. It is not loss. It is subtraction that makes room for leverage. It is not rejection. It is removal of variables that would compromise focus. It is not stagnation. It is incubation under watchful eyes that do not rush what must mature. It is not invisibility. It is selective visibility controlled by timing rather than impulse. It is not isolation. It is insulation against interference during evaluation. This is the phase where restraint becomes proof of readiness. You have noticed how quickly certain conversations drain you now, especially those that pry without offering substance. Your body resists over-explaining, because overexposure dilutes signal and confuses intention. You feel an internal check before sharing plans, as if something quietly says not yet and not here. This is not secrecy born of fear. It is stewardship of information while leverage is forming. Power watches how you hold what you know, not just what you can do. Opportunity listens for restraint more than it listens for ambition. Halfway through this transmission, I need you to anchor yourself consciously. Not for me, but to signal your own alignment. In the comments, write the phrase "eyes open." Cords cut exactly as it is, because language seals intention when thought alone is too soft. This is not a ritual for approval. It is a confirmation for yourself that you understand what is happening, without needing it explained again. Those words are drawn directly from the pressure you have been feeling, and the clarity you are stepping into. Type them slowly, deliberately, and then return here without distraction. Momentum responds to commitment, not curiosity. There is a reason your tolerance for chaos has dropped so suddenly, and it is not because you are becoming rigid or joyless. Chaos feeds on access, and access requires porous boundaries, which you no longer offer without discernment. You are learning to feel when attention is being harvested rather than exchanged. You can sense when interest is curiosity versus evaluation, and when praise is genuine versus strategic. This awareness is not meant to make you suspicious. It is meant to make you sovereign. Sovereignty is calm, quiet, and very difficult to manipulate. It is not that you must confront every strange energy. It is that you must not invite it to sit. It is not that you must expose every watcher. It is that you must not perform for unseen eyes. It is not that you must rush toward opportunity. It is that you must let opportunities step fully into the light. It is not that you must prove yourself. It is that you must remain yourself under pressure. It is not that danger is imminent. It is that discernment is required. This is how cords are cut without drama, by simply withdrawing energy from what does not align. The mechanics of this moment are precise and uncompromising, and they operate whether you understand them or not. When power observes potential, it tests consistency before offering elevation. Consistency under anonymity matters more than brilliance under spotlight. That is why this season feels quiet, but heavy, still but charged, slow but deliberate. Every reaction is being measured, every silence noted, every boundary respected or violated recorded. This is not to make you anxious. It is to make you exact. You are being trained to move without broadcasting, to decide without announcing, to prepare without external validation. Your nervous system is learning to stay regulated while being watched, which is a skill few ever master. This is why emotional spikes feel uncomfortable now, not because emotion is wrong, but because volatility is expensive at higher levels. Calm dominance is not suppression. It is command. It is the ability to feel fully without leaking control. That is what is being refined in you right now. You may have noticed that temptations to overindulge, overshare, or overcommit feel louder in this phase. These are not random impulses. They are tests of boundary integrity. Anything that pulls you out of center right now costs more than it used to. This is not punishment. It is sensitivity increase. Your system is calibrated for precision, not for excess. That is why discernment feels urgent instead of optional. Someone in power has their eyes on you, but that does not mean they have access to you. Observation does not equal ownership, and attention does not equal authority. You decide what enters your field, what stays, and what is quietly released. Cutting cords is not about conflict. It is about closure without explanation. You do not owe everyone context for your evolution. You owe yourself clarity as this transmission continues. Understand that the next layer is not about who is watching you, but about what in you is still reactive enough to be watched closely. Power does not only observe talent, it observes triggers. It looks for the places where ego flares, where fear rushes in, where validation is still required. This is not judgment. It is assessment, and assessment can only proceed when the subject remains still enough to be accurately measured. Which is why everything in you is being asked to slow down while awareness sharpens even further. Because the moment you realize what they are really looking for is the moment when the opportunity stops feeling external and starts feeling like a mirror. And right as that realization begins to form, there is a deeper layer unfolding where the watching shifts from outside to within. And the question becomes not who has their eyes on you, but whether you are ready to meet your own gaze when the final chord reveals itself and you feel the exact instant when letting go is no longer optional, but absolutely necessary. Because the next movement cannot carry the weight of what you have been tolerating. And right as you sense which attachment that is, the signal intensifies and the pressure sharpens and the silence before the invitation stretches. Just enough that you begin to understand that what comes next will demand a level of discernment that you have only just begun to access. And that is why this message cannot yet say what happens when the eyes watching you decide whether you are ready, because that decision hinges on whether you can hold steady as the final distraction rises, and you are faced with the choice to engage it or let it fall away as if it was never really yours. To begin with, and right there, in that exact suspended moment where instinct and discipline collide, something irreversible begins to shift, and you can feel it. Now, as the space tightens and the next instruction presses against the edge of your awareness, waiting for you to remain still long enough for it to land without flinching. Because the stillness itself is the answer being recorded. What you do in that pause matters more than what you have done in years of noise. This is where discernment stops being theoretical and becomes embodied restraint. The urge to explain, to react, to justify, to prove, to secure your position prematurely is the final chord testing its strength. And you feel it as a heat in the chest, a restlessness in the hands, A pressure to move before the signal is clear. This is the symptom that confirms your rank, because only those being considered feel this particular kind of tension. It is not impatience. It is power learning to wait without decaying. It is not self-doubt. It is humility being installed as armor rather than weakness. It is not temptation. It is calibration between impulse and authority. It is not confusion. It is the narrowing of options until only alignment remains. It is not silence from the outside. It is instruction from within. This is how discernment speaks when words would cheapen the lesson. You are being shown how to move when information is incomplete, but intuition is fully online. This is why details have been withheld, why confirmation has been delayed, why clarity has arrived in fragments instead of declarations. Power does not reward those who need certainty to remain stable. It elevates those who can hold uncertainty without leaking integrity. That capacity is rare, and it cannot be taught through comfort. It must be activated through pressure. Notice how your circle has thinned without dramatic fallout. Notice how certain people stopped reaching out when you stopped performing availability. Notice how opportunities that required compromise quietly dissolved on their own. This was not loss. It was filtration. Anything that could not survive your boundaries was never meant to survive your elevation. This is the law operating cleanly. You may have wondered why your emotional reactions feel delayed now, as if you register events intellectually before they land in your body. That is not numbness. That is command taking precedence over reflex. You are learning to choose responses rather than be chosen by them. This is essential when eyes are on you, because volatility invites manipulation. Calm dominance closes that door without confrontation. It signals readiness without announcement. It is not that you have become unreadable. It is that you have become legible only to those operating at the same frequency. Lower-level observation sees nothing but quiet. Higher-level observation sees restraint, coherence, and timing. This is why you feel both invisible and intensely seen at the same time. Different layers are perceiving you differently, and that is exactly how it should be. Selective visibility is protection disguised as neutrality. Cutting cords at this level is subtle and surgical. It looks like declining invitations without guilt. It feels like not responding immediately even when you could. It manifests as withholding commentary when silence carries more authority. This is not passive behavior. It is strategic non-engagement. Every cord you cut frees bandwidth for the assignment that is approaching. You have likely noticed that when you do speak now, words land heavier than before. People pause, recalibrate, or reveal themselves unintentionally. This is not because you are intimidating. It is because clarity disrupts ambiguity. Those who rely on confusion feel exposed around you. Those who value alignment feel relieved. This polarity is another marker of readiness. It is not your job to manage how others respond to your presence. It is your job to remain clean in intention and precise in movement. Power watches for that distinction because it determines whether influence will corrupt or amplify you. This is why your inner work feels relentless right now. There is no room for self-deception at this altitude. Everything unresolved becomes audible. You are being trained to sense when attention shifts from observation to invitation. There is a subtle change in the atmosphere when that happens. Pressure gives way to expectancy, and silence becomes charged rather than heavy. You will feel it as a settling instead of a tightening. Until then, stillness is the correct response. Movement before that signal creates noise that delays alignment. It is not that the opportunity is fragile. It is that timing is exact. Arriving early is just as misaligned as arriving late. This is why patience is being refined into precision. You are learning to wait without waiting, to be ready without rushing. This paradox is uncomfortable until it becomes natural. Then it becomes power. The eyes on you are not looking for perfection. They are looking for coherence under pressure. They are looking for someone who does not fracture when unseen forces apply weight. They are looking for someone who can hold authority without craving control. This is why your internal discipline matters more than external achievement right now. Character is louder than performance at this stage. You may feel moments of sudden clarity followed by stretches of quiet integration. This rhythm is intentional. Insight arrives, then embeds, then tests itself in stillness. Do not chase the next revelation when the current one is still settling. Integration is where power stabilizes. Without it, insight becomes volatility. If you are tempted to seek reassurance, notice that impulse without obeying it. Reassurance is expensive when it replaces self-trust. You are being taught to validate yourself internally so that external validation does not sway you. This is essential when eyes of authority are present. Because approval can be used as leverage, independence from that need is non-negotiable. You are almost there. It is not that the world has gone quiet. It is that you have tuned out unnecessary frequencies. What remains is signal. Signal feels sparse, but potent. Every interaction now carries information. Every delay communicates something. Every reaction reveals alignment or lack thereof. This is why discernment feels like a full-time function rather than an occasional skill. You are not overthinking. You are processing at a higher resolution. Details that once blurred now stand out sharply. This can feel overwhelming until you trust your ability to filter without force. You do not need to analyze everything. You need to feel what resonates cleanly. Your body already knows. Asterisk as this transmission deepens. Understand that the next shift is internal and irreversible. Once you see certain dynamics clearly, you cannot unsee them. This is why timing matters. Clarity carries responsibility. When you know better, you must move better. That is the unspoken agreement at this level. And you have already agreed by staying present. The cord you are being asked to cut next is not external. It is not a person, place, or opportunity. It is an internal attachment to a version of yourself that needed to be noticed to feel real. That version served you once, but it cannot accompany you forward. Letting it go will feel like a small grief followed by a large relief. This is the threshold. You may feel resistance as identity loosens its grip. This is normal. Identity wants continuity, but evolution demands rupture. Do not cling to what is shedding. Do not rush to replace it. Allow the space. In that space, power recalibrates its approach to you. Observation becomes consideration. Consideration becomes positioning. Positioning becomes invitation. This sequence cannot be forced. It unfolds in response to your steadiness. Right now, the most important action is non-action aligned with awareness. Watch your impulses without feeding them. Notice who seeks access and how they seek it. Feel where energy drains and where it stabilizes. This data is being mirrored back to those watching you. They see what you choose not to engage. It is not that you must be flawless. It is that you must be congruent. Your inner state must match your outer behavior. Incongruence creates noise that delays trust. Congruence creates a signal that cannot be faked. This is what sets you apart without effort. This is why the eyes remain as you sit with this. You may sense a subtle shift in how you perceive time. Moments stretch. Pauses deepen. Urgency dissolves into presence. This is not dissociation. It is temporal mastery. When you are fully present, time becomes an ally rather than a threat. This is another marker being noted. few reach it consciously. Do not seek to accelerate what is already moving toward you. Acceleration without alignment creates turbulence. Alignment without acceleration creates inevitability. You are being positioned for the latter. Trust the process without romanticizing it. This is work, not fantasy. The watching will not last forever. Observation has a purpose, and that purpose concludes when enough data is gathered. What happens after is not yet revealed because it depends on how you handle what is unfolding now. Every choice refines the outcome. Every restraint strengthens the signal. Every moment of calm dominance speaks louder than ambition ever could. And as you remain here, aware of your breath, aware of the tension easing into focus, aware of the subtle confidence replacing the need to be seen, understand that the next phase will begin the moment you no longer ask whether someone in power has their eyes on you, but instead feel the quiet certainty that whatever is watching has already recognized something in you that cannot be taught, cannot be rushed, and cannot be taken away. And right as that certainty settles, there will be a final test that looks deceptively ordinary. A choice so small it almost feels irrelevant. Yet it will determine whether the observation shifts into activation. Because in that moment you will either reach for what is familiar or remain still in what is emerging. And the weight of that decision will ripple outward faster than you expect, carrying consequences that you can already sense gathering just beyond the edge of your awareness, waiting for you to choose without needing to be told what to do. And that is where this transmission must pause, suspended exactly here. As the pressure sharpens one last time and the next instruction prepares to surface, when you are ready to hear it without resistance. Because the moment you move too soon or hesitate too long will reveal everything. And right now the stillness is holding its breath, watching to see if you will to now. Remain steady and let the impulse pass without expression, because restraint is the final signal being logged. If you feel the urge to speak, breathe instead. And if you feel the urge to act, wait until calm returns. This is how watchers learn you cannot be rushed, baited, or bent. When you choose stillness here, you silently choose authority later. Power respects those who respect timing. Type eyes open. Cords cut once more if the pressure is easing and clarity is settling. Because repetition seals recognition. If the words feel heavy, that is proof the cord is loosening. If they feel light, the release has already begun. Either way, leave the mark and return your attention here. Align yourself by subscribing now, but for continuity. Because transmissions arrive only when readiness is detected. Subscription is consent to be trained in silence and discernment. Those who linger without alignment feel restless. Those who commit feel grounded. Choose grounded. Notice how calm has replaced urgency while certainty replaces explanation. This is the state that converts observation into invitation. Remain here when distractions attempt entry, because distractions test loyalty to your own signal. Do not chase validation. Do not answer provocation. Do not explain your absence. Let your coherence speak. If eyes are on you, they will follow consistency, not charisma. They will track decisions made without applause. They will measure how you carry yourself when nothing happens. This is happening now. Comment the phrase again if you feel watched without fear and ready without impatience. Comment nothing if silence feels stronger. Both responses are data. Stay present. Breathe low. Soften the jaw. Release the shoulders. And let the moment pass through without residue. When the final distraction fades, the invitation moves closer, quietly, unmistakably. You will recognize it by the absence of pressure and the presence of direction. Until then, remain exact, remain calm, remain unavailable to noise. Because what is coming requires you intact, undivided, and steady. And the stillness you hold right now is the proof being reviewed as the threshold opens and the next signal prepares to arrive.